Electricast.
This episode is brought to you by Microsoft Azure. Turn your ideas into reality with an Azure free account. Get everything you need to develop apps across cloud and hybrid environments, scale workloads, create cloud-connected mobile experiences, and so much more. Discover what you can create with popular services free for 12 months. Learn more at azure.com. That's AZURE.com. And sign up for a free account to start building in the cloud today.
Welcome to Missing the Point. I am Hollywood Rayshawn Buchanan with my guys, decisive and Michael Marcangelo. Fellas, how we doing tonight?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
So good. I can't wait to talk about the New England Patriots with you guys. This is the devilish part of me.
That's what makes you versatile. Once again, if you were doing an all Bears show, I think we could come on and speak a little bit about what good things you guys got going on over here. But welcome to our depression hour, right?
I mean, I guess so. I obviously keep my finger on the button with the New England Patriots just because of the sort of centricity of our podcast. And I listen to a lot of Bill Simmons, who's obviously a Patriots fan, and I talk to you guys and my friends back home. And yeah, I think it's probably the worst Patriots team since before we started our radio show at Dean College. To be honest with you,
yeah.
Oh yeah,
thanks. Yeah. I mean, like I say, we can't even say 2000 because I said 2000. Even then, they was 5-11.
Yeah.
You gotta say, okay, maybe they're trending in the right direction. Then obviously, what happened the next year?
I tried to come up with some positives today before in my show prep, though, just in order to make sure you guys.
Listen, I hope that you find some because
good for you, dude.
I have a couple.
So it's all good. So if you didn't notice by now, like I said, we're gonna get into all things Patriots, and then we're gonna do something a little different that we don't always do, which is get into picks of the actual games. Don't worry. DK's been cooking up our game show. It's coming soon, y'all. So don't worry. Stay tuned for that. So make sure you hit that subscription button so that you don't miss that when we do drop that. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So training camp is now complete. This is the first time in the Drake Maye regime. So Mike, I'll start with you. But just how would you assess how Maye did during his first camp?
Well, I'm not going to be positive, so I just want to get it right off the bat. I thought that Drake Maye was set up for failure in his first offseason and training camp as head coach. Mm-hmm. I think back in May, June, he told us all that Jacoby Brissett was going to be the starter. He's the most game ready, blah, 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 blah. And then for some weird fucking reason, 3 weeks ago, he said that it's an open competition, which is so stupid. It should never have been an open competition. When you see, and obviously he knows far more than we do. He sees it every day. When you see the shape that line is in, how could you ever entertain the thought of saying, you know what, I'm going to tell the media that Drake's been outplaying the guy that we paid $8 million for, and it's a competition. It should never be. You, and by you, I mean the New England Patriots and their fan base, should want Jacoby Brissett to be the starting quarterback of the Patriots this year. I've been banging that drum all fucking offseason, and I'm still going to. The goal here this year is not to win 6 games, 7 games, 8 games. Fuck that. You want to do exactly what we think they're going to do and probably win 3 to 4, because then you get yourself a good draft pick next year. You can actually get yourself an offensive lineman, and you can protect the kid. I thought in his press conference today, I don't know if either of you saw it or read the notes, but his opening statement was, I made the decision to start Jacoby Brissett. So clearly, it even sounds like he wanted to go with Drake Maye, but he was told to go elsewhere and to go with Brissett. Brissett's pissed off already. He said the only reason why I'm having to answer questions about this is because you all made it a story. This is not what you want out of a team that you already know is going to win 3 to 4 games. You'd rather than be a close-knit group and not already have this type of chaos going into the first game. But yeah, I think it's been terrible, and probably because he's so open with us that we're not used to it based on what we've seen from Bill the last 24 years. So I'm not going to hold that part against him, but it just doesn't feel like he's in complete control of the decisions that are being made, which I think sucks. I don't think whatever happens this year He's not going to get fired as he shouldn't. I just don't think they're giving him every opportunity to succeed.
Dave?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I agree with a lot of what Mike just said as far as like, and especially I can see it from like a fan perspective, why it would be annoying that there's like of all places to have like a leaky ship, like the least leakiest ship in the last 20 years plus of NFL locker rooms. I think there's going to be some growing pains here for Mayo, especially because he's never been a head coach before, and he came up in this organization, but he's going to have to put his own stamp on things. I think one of the hardest things to do as a head coach is manipulate, for lack of a better word, the media narrative surrounding your team. Belichick never bothered. Like he was just like, I'm not dealing with that. But there's coaches across all sports that, have the ability to sort of get, the Steve Kerrs of the world have the ability to get the media and the people they see all the time in those press rooms on side. I think Mayo's probably made some mistakes in that sense, but I don't know how big of a deal that is. I think you can, like, as the Patriots are currently constituted, you have a 53-man roster where in 2027, if you still have like 7 of those guys, I think that will probably be like the most that you're looking at, for better or for worse, right? Like you sort of have to look at how they're trying to strengthen the roster from 0, which is where we are right now. And I think, honestly, they looked at the free agency market. I know a lot of Patriots fans are mad that they didn't really dip in there. I know that there was talk of Ayuk and there was, different things, but like, what's the point in getting Brandon Ayuk if when you're the Drake Mays of the world are going to start for you, which I agree, Mike, is the right thing to do. I think that's exactly what you should be doing. And I actually think he's going to be pretty good. Just, I was, dubious on his on paper stuff because I didn't watch him a ton in the amateur game and the college game, but in his preseason performances, I mean, he kind of looks the business, to be honest with you. So I can see why the narrative shifted and why people started to have the conversation. I agree with you that he should have just been like, I fucking told you who the starter was already. Like, we don't need to keep having this conversation for all the reasons. You know what I mean? Like, that's the other thing. Like, I agree that it's frustrating because he didn't need to step in the puddle. Everybody saw the puddle coming and it's like, just go around it. But, he doesn't have to be a master of that. What he needs to do is he needs to get guys to get together and, singing off the same hymn sheet. Sorry to bring up the Bears, but I think it's an apt comparison. You guys have been watching
Please
Hard
do.
Knocks, I'm sure. Eberflus's style of coaching, very man management, very like walking around, making sure he kind of gets to know all the guys that they know he's like paying attention, this, that, and the other. He's a little bit of an aw shucks guy when it comes to like media management. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's a bad head coach. It just means that he's not going to be the most charismatic post-game press conference guy in the world, which you guys know full well isn't the most important thing. So, what you need is, and I understand you're a little bit in the dark right now too, because it could go either way. But what you need is to look at the positives, I think, because it's going to be easy to find the negatives with a bad team. The positives, I think, are there. I think Drake Maye looks the business, which I said. I still think Stevenson's a good running back. I think that there's some bright spots on your roster that you can sort of, manipulate into working for you over the next couple of years when you spend what is, I think, after what the Browns did today with restructuring Watson's deal, the second highest salary cap space in the league, right? So the world's your oyster at this point. They didn't go into the market because I think you build, and the Bears did this, and I think it really worked. I think you go into the market for your last few pieces. I think you go and you spend for your last few pieces once you've built up your roster through the draft. I think what's the name of the wide receiver you guys drafted?
Jalen Polk and Javon Baker.
Yeah. This is the deepest wide receiver class there's about fucking 35 good wide receivers in this wide receiver class. Like, you guys did the right thing. You went and you struck while the iron was hot in this draft class. I agree. Absolutely. You should focus on winning 2 to 3 to 4 games max in order to put yourself in a position to get what looks like a pretty deep offensive lineman and defensive lineman draft class next year. The trenches you build out. The one big mistake the Bears have made is we're weak as fuck in the trenches. Like we don't have our offensive line and our defensive line isn't deep and it isn't super talented. So we have, and it's like a lot of injury prone stuff. I think you build out from the trenches because you have a guy like Mayo in there who has that sort of insight. I mean, Ryan Poles was a fucking offensive lineman, so I'm not really sure what he's doing, abandoning that position core, but whatever. It's a different conversation for a different day. I think a guy like Mayo building from this point, he's already made what I would consider the correct moves. Stay out of the market when you have no business being in there. I think would be a good fresh start, and draft well. And I think, I mean, look, I know we're always trying to get an hour show out of this stuff, but it's all going to come down to how good these quarterbacks we've drafted are, guys. Like that's what it's all going to come down to, right? Like you have to wait and try to give everybody their sea legs before you start building a team around this guy, because he's not even going to see the field this year, hopefully, if all goes according to plan, right? So, yeah, it's going to be frustrating. The media training stuff is going to be frustrating. That's, to me, though, that's just a coach finding his feet. You know, I think you can give him a little slack on that.
I just think the worst part of it for me, sorry to jump in on you, Ray, is that it felt like they orchestrated a competition that no fan actually wanted or even thought was happening.
It felt naive.
Right. It's like, don't do that.
Because they're young coaches. You know, it's a young coaching staff.
You don't need to do that. Like, as a fan, it's
learned.
Great. It's great to hear that he's been outplaying Jacoby, as he should. Jacoby Brissett was not a top 3 pick. Drake Maye was. Like, he should be.
But Jacoby Brissett is not there to win a quarterback competition, is your point, right? Like, and like, why invent one? Yeah, like,
right.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was a silly thing to do. I think that he kind of gets a mulligan when his team is this bad. Like, next year's training camp's a different story. You know, he might get a different haircut and beard like Eberflus did, and the world's his oyster at that point.
My only worry, though, Ray, is that, like, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, is like you bring Jacoby Brissett to kind of just steady the ship and be a good mentor. So why create a controversy where you pit him against a rookie that he knew he was here to beat out anyway? And hopefully you just don't jeopardize that relationship. I'm sure I'm being over dramatic. I have a knack for doing that, but it just really pissed me off.
Well, how are you supposed to know what the QB room is like? You know what I mean? Like, you don't know how they're going to gel. Like, you just don't know how they're going to gel as personalities regardless. And I don't think Brissett's going to blame the fucking 22-year-olds for, you know, like a couple of strange, like, missteps in the media by his coach. Like, I mean, all things considered, I mean, the one thing that kind of pinged in my head is like the Jerod Mayo's set up to fail. Like, I wonder if he's like kind of the straw man here. If he's just if he's been asked to be the custodian of a couple of really bad Patriots seasons, to just be like sort of showing the door when it's time to really have a roster that we're going to go somewhere with. You know what I mean? Because I mean, it's not a bad plan, because if Jacoby Brissett can actually show you something, or I'm sorry, if Jerod Mayo can actually show you something as a head coach with this roster, you have a Sean McVay type all of a sudden, right? Where it's like, how the fuck did he do that with the Rams last year? They were just bad, right? Like, top to bottom. And then you realize, wow, great, we have a head coach. It's worse if he's given like this awesome roster that he fucking squanders, right? Learning lessons, you know, learning curve.
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be real tough.
You just have to draft well. You know, you just have to draft well for the next few years.
That's the thing. And it's like, and you know, Mike is trying to drill in my head that, you know,
Bill's not here.
A guy's not here. It doesn't matter. I'm like, you got to give me a reason to trust that first. Like, just saying because he's not here.
All right, I'll give it to you right now. Bill wouldn't have drafted Drake Maye. You know how I know? He said it. So
right, correct. Yeah, he probably would have drafted Joe Alt.
Yeah, it's already a new era. You know what I mean? It's already he's already traded down.
What we're seeing now, though, and you just said it a few moments ago about you build from the trenches out. So getting Joe Alt, or you know, maybe like a Rashawn Slater a few years ago, a Tyler Linderbaum who's in it was in Baltimore. Like you have all of that. You have to. I just hate having to figure out the team from drafting, because that's such an inexact science. Once again, it works in most regards. Once again, I just haven't trusted the player development. Once again, if it changes this year and guys start to develop there, great, awesome. But they've given me no reason to think that's going to happen. As far as the Maye being sat down for the year, and once again, what if they go through this year? Once again, yes, maybe you draft Will Campbell for LSU, as I've been mentioning, but say you don't get any other linemen but Will Campbell. I'm saying for next year. I'm saying that's the case next year. It's
that's
like
an abdication of responsibility because you need to get some guys in there to protect.
no.
You have a bottom three offensive line right now.
I hear you, but I'm saying that's a possibility because it's just once again
we're all going to sound like Mike. if that
sure, that's fine. But it's just like if the line still sucks next year, are you not going to play him?
No, you got to play him next year.
No, I'm saying, but that's the narrative. You're going to sit him until the line is perfect to play. Like that to me.
Okay, but I have to disagree with you slightly on in the sense that like you would be putting him out there to die this year. Like, you would be putting him out there to die. That offensive line is atrocious. It's one of the worst I've ever seen. I like these guys. There's a couple guys on your like in your second string rotation that wouldn't make the practice squad of a team with a top 10 line. It's bad. And just at this point, you're protecting your investment. Great offensive linemen don't grow on trees, but what they do have is a really, really high rate of scouting return. If most of the time, if you think that an offensive lineman is fucking sick coming out of college, if the experts in the NFL think that, they're usually right. These aren't huge busts that happen on the offensive line all the time. Like the intangibles they're able to read are there. There's just not that many guys that are really good is the problem, right? Like there's not that many unbelievable left tackles, right? That out there. There's not that many guys with like elite level footwork that can like protect you, like even with like weaknesses around him or whatever. Also, it's a super injury prone position. So it's like hard to fill those spots out. Quarterback, who fucking knows, dude? You know what I mean? Like who knows? So you got to get him out there next year.
No,
so just to see what he's working.
Absolutely. But it's like, I don't need you to be Larry Tunsil. Just be Nate Solden.
Sure, like, but you can go build an offensive line like that. You can go build an offensive line in seconds. You know,
yeah, because it's just like because what's the guy that y'all had over there for years? Or is he still there now? Is it Khalil? Ryan Khalil? Khalil is it Herbert? Like the guy you had over there at tackle?
I don't know.
I don't know, but either way, I mean, obviously, you know, your line is better than our line right now, but it's.
Is it? I don't know. I'm real fucking concerned.
Stop it.
No, I know. Yeah, but I'm just a little worried.
It's just like it's amazing. I mean, once again, to me, it used to be the philosophy that you draft a lineman.
Cody Whitehair, is that who you're talking about? Cody Whitehair?
Again?
Cody Whitehair, the white guy?
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. But I'm saying, I just to me, it used to be like draft guys from the Big Ten because you know they were used to playing in big stocky guys. So. I don't know what philosophy they have with it now. Once again, they drafted Cole Strange and Sean McVay and company fucking laughed. They laughed.
Right. Well, because Bill reached for Cole Strange.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's just like whenever
but this dude, you're still so traumatized. Like this isn't.
Yeah, it can't hurt you anymore, dude.
It can't hurt you anymore. Listen, we were in agreement on this show for. I don't know, 5 years.
I was calling it for 2021, so this is not something that was brand new for me.
But we were in agreement that Bill Belichick was a bad GM. I don't know the whole time, but at least for the last
5 years, yeah, it was
awful. You know, so like we knew that the only way to go is up in that sense because at least you went and drafted the best available quarterback, which is just common sense at this point, right? Like nobody at this point in drafting. Did you guys see that movie Draft Day? Kevin Costner?
Yes.
I fucking love that movie, dude. Yeah. But at this point in drafting, it's not that movie, right? There's no reinventing the wheel at this point in NFL drafting, right? Like you can do a cost-benefit analysis of the risk that you're taking on when you make these draft choices. And you can't, like, the days of the sensational, like, ESPN sort of, like, destroying the Cleveland Browns for drafting a QB #1 overall every single year and then them not doing anything right. Like, I don't know if it's like that anymore, to be honest, because any sensible fan, if Drake Maye busts, any sensible fan is just going to be like, I mean, we had to take him in that position. You know what I mean? Like you had to take him. Like it was the right thing to do. And like looking back on it, if he busts, fine, but you got to get him out there in year 2 to see, because if he isn't the guy, you don't want to start that timer a year late, because look, then you're Dallas. Right. Then you're Dallas. Then you're spending every fucking year with elite skill players and all these other positions that you built up. And the guy that needs to take you to the promised land is Dak fucking Prescott. You know what I mean? Like it's not, you got to figure it out. And it is, I agree. I'm making it sound too simple. It is a fine line. It's hard. You know, I mean, there's no guarantee that Caleb Williams is going to be good. The signs are promising. #1 draft pick, you know, #1 overall. apparently, according to everybody, a generational talent that might break his brain. You don't know. So, but you had to take him, right? You had to take him. If you're the Bears, you had to take Drake Maye in the position the Patriots were in. The one thing I think the Patriots could have done differently was lose harder. But, here we are. And honestly, look at the fucking situations around the league. Like, you guys might be the worst record this year, and that would be good for you. Just for the record, that would be a good thing. Just celebrate that. But you won't be the worst run organization. The jury's still out on that.
Oh, Ray disagrees with you.
You think? Really? Because I don't know if you know what's going on in Atlanta with those QBs. It's fucking wild.
I mean, obviously drafting Penix at 8 was wild. Like, it's one thing.
Okay, what about Minnesota? Look at how bad Minnesota fucked that team up. There's
the quarterback got injured. I mean, that's different. That happens. But it's like that.
No, but it's you know what I mean? Like, their timing's off over there. They're going 5 games this year. Like, they didn't build their team at the right pace. Like, they built the back of the ship, and then the front of the ship sunk the whole thing. It's like it's a fine line to thread here. And I think the way the Patriots have started is, and just all I'm saying is, you're in this phase, and in this phase, step one, I think you've done all the right things. I think you've done all the major things you were supposed to do to set yourself up for future success. Is that going to continue? I don't know, but I mean, I'm surprised you guys aren't more positive, honestly.
I mean, listen, I will say.
I guess it's because you're used to seeing your team win, and I'm not.
No, but it's once again, the reason why, and I said this on a previous show, but I'll say it because you wasn't on here with us, so we missed you. I'm glad you're back. Because I don't look at it as this is happening right now. I guess I got to shift my mind to. I keep going back to the last 5 years. You fucking missed on everything, just about. That's where my mind. So I can't wrap my mind.
And they still weren't like that bad. Because like they
no, I'm talking about draft wise though. Once again, I mean,
yeah.
They spent money in free agency.
No, totally.
Great, but just draft wise, the last 5 years, maybe even 6, you've been fucking terrible. So until some picks actually hit on the offensive side, because once again, defensive wise, you hit with Barmore, you hit with Duggar, like fine. Because once again, I remember when people he picked Duggar, it was like, what the fuck is going on? But Duggar came up and played really well right away. So cool. He was also 30 years old when he drafted him. But it is what it is.
I fucking hate that, dude. I hate that. I never check their ages, and now in like the COVID, like you get an extra red shirt, like whatever,
it's
all this different stuff.
Well.
I'm looking at some of the ages of these guys coming out, and I'm like, I'm sorry, that man should have a 401k by now. Like, what's he fucking doing? It's like, it's unbelievable.
It's wild. It's wild. So that's where I'm at. Like, I can't wrap my mind around like, oh, it's the Rebo 1.0. I'm like, no. I'm like, you've missed on everything the last 5 years. Like, something has to give at some point. And it's just like, and once again, even though, because people say it's a new regime with Mayo, like to me, I'm like, Mayo was still we still here under Bill. So to me, there's still some things, whether he says it or not, he's still doing some things that's similar to what we saw outside of the talking. Once again, I don't really care about that. That gives us content. Fine. You want to keep talking.
He's trying to turn around an oil tanker though. You know what I mean?
No, sure.
It's not...
it's like, I'll put it like this. This might make you laugh, Dave. I'm where you are, where you were with Joe Mazzulla, right? Nothing he could do was right. He was until he showed you that he was a decent coach, and maybe you still may not believe that, but he earned a little bit of your respect. You're like,
no.
He was just trash. So
yeah, but
I gotta be shown. You gotta show me. My heart's broken, Dave. I'm hurt, Dave. I'm hurt. My heart's broken, Dave. Okay.
The difference there, though, Ray, is that he was critiquing Mazzulla, who's taking over a championship-ready team. I mean, this team, the New England Patriots, all we know, and you can say what you want. If Bill wasn't the head coach last year, they would have won 1 game. That's it. Right. And they probably only should have won 1 game. Right. That would have been better for us. But
I really do think Drake Maye I think he looks the part, to be honest.
He does. I'm saying, but we got killed. I'm saying, but yeah, so back. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I mean, it's just like this organization is going to look a lot different than even the gripes that you've had with it over the last 20 years. It's going to be unrecognizable this year and probably next year because it's gonna feel like a bottom feeder team. And you just have to accept it and want them not to win. Like, I want them to be competitive in every game. I don't want to waste every Sunday, but I want a top 2 pick next year.
It's also just like, the guys, I'm not saying, and I want to make it really clear up front, I'm not saying that like the ghost of Bill Belichick is haunting the grounds, like pressure wise or like, any sort of expectation level wise or anything like that. But I mean, just think about going to work every day and you're the boss and the old boss is the best guy to ever do it. You know what I mean? Like he's the best guy to ever do it ever. And like, say what you will about X, Y, and Z. That's just going to go down. We'll be dying
as a coach.
Deathbeds,
Absolutely.
As a coach. Yeah, of course. I mean, as a coach, he's the best guy to ever do it. And the stuff that's hanging around on the walls, he put it there, and you're saying like, there's certain things that he hasn't, kind of left behind from the Belichick era. And I know you mean GM wise, but I think that like, he's got a really movable feast in front of him here. Like there's a lot to take in. So I think you got to give him a little time, even if all he succeeds in doing is taking down the old tenants' photos from the wall and like giving the next regime a blank slate to work from.
Already did that.
Well, but I don't know if he has in like the intangible sense, you know what I mean? Because he's like Ray's saying, he's a part of that regime in a way. He was promoted from within. He was like, there were promises made to him. He was waiting in the wings, right? Am I correct in that? He was sort of like told that he was going to be the next guy for a while. So yeah, I mean, you got to give him a little time to walk around and fucking kick the tires. I think, like just a little, because here's the thing. Basketball analogies are good because I think in basketball, any given offseason, a team can add 2 to 3 pieces and all of a sudden become unrecognizable. And that's obviously for the reason that there's 5 dudes out there. So it's like a little bit different to like build a roster. I think the overall roster building is probably insanely hard in the NFL comparably to basketball.
Right.
So I watched Bears regimes over and over again fail. And it's the calamitous mistakes, Ray. It's the night I was standing on a fucking TV show set at like 11 o'clock at night, and I hadn't checked my phone, and I looked, and I realized that we had traded up to get Mitch fucking Trubisky. Like those are the things that kill at an organization, or at least the leadership positions of an organization, because that happened, and I was like, great, now I got to wait 2 years for this to pan out, and this guy to get fucking fired. Right, this guy pays to get fired. Right now, I gotta wait for that because of course, right, you gotta like at least see, like maybe we're wrong, but I knew in my heart of hearts. Now it's like, Poles is building a nice roster. He drafted Caleb Williams. I mean, he got really, really lucky in a couple of ways because apparently they were all like huffing fucking paint in Carolina when they were deciding to make trades with the fucking Chicago Bears. That is looking worse and worse by the second. That might be the greatest trade in the history of the NFL. Like the potentially ceiling wise, but you look at it and you're like, not enough has happened is my point. Like he hasn't done enough. All the things have to happen now, and you'll be able to tell, and it's not missteps with the media. I don't think.
Yeah,
it's not. Oh shit, he did that thing, that really nuanced thing that we all pay attention to because we're all like super fans of this team that Bill used to do. It really is the big swings because as a GM. And a head coach to a certain extent, as a GM, you have to make 3 to 5 big swings in your first 3 years, right? If not more, and they have to pay off. Or at least most of them do, right? You can't take huge L's, but you got to take these big swings. And the first one he's done, he's taken one, and it's Drake Maye. And preseason wise, I know that doesn't mean everything, but I mean the kid looks like he might have it. So
just remember, but he will be sheltered a bit because he is not the GM. He's just a coach.
Yeah, but I'm talking organizationally. I don't mean
right.
Mayo. I don't mean Mayo specifically. I just mean organizationally what you're looking at as a whole. That they're a package deal. No, I mean if the GM gets fired, Mayo's going with him. Vice versa. I don't know who's going to get fired first, but like it's pretty rare that they're not, right?
Yeah, so I'll be ready for everybody to go to Logan in a couple of years. If this.
But that's what I'm saying is like you're turning around a fucking oil tanker with these NFL teams, dude. It's hard. It's hard. We got a punter in the draft, and I was like, yes, a punter. Yes. Fuck yeah. We're doing this. We're building out the whole roster, baby. And he's sick. And I'm excited about a punter. You know what I mean? Like you'll in 2 to 3 years, they'll be putting the finishing touches on what they're building. And you'll know then how mad you should be. And I don't know.
Listen, I'll be, but I want to stay there with coaching, right? Because obviously, he's in his first year. Obviously, he was a hell of a player. One of the smartest players I think Bill had ever coached.
Overrated player.
Huh?
He was an overrated player.
Mayo? Mayo was like one of the most popular
for what he did in 7 years.
I think you had a Mayo
thought he was pretty decent, but
never me.
Not you,
Okay.
no.
No.
Mayo was
I think we had talked about that before, but so obviously, and I think I Mike, you could chime in on this first, but I definitely want to hear DK's answer on this because I think I'll be entertained by the response. But so Alex Van Pelt obviously is a dude that basically hasn't gotten any roles until now as a head offensive coordinator. But I kind of want to bring it back to the Celtics thing because obviously, remember we talked about Joe Mazzulla got the Sam Cassell and he added to the coaching staff, and also they ended up winning. So Mike, I'll ask you, who could be Jerome Mayo or Sam Cassell? Because it ain't fucking Alex Van Pelt. I don't care.
No.
There's nothing you could convince me on about that guy. That guy's a fucking joke. So
but
who could be that guy eventually? Is he out there at the
Well, I don't know if he would ever take a lateral move, but it's the offensive coordinator in Detroit. Like that was the guy I wanted to come here Ben Johnson and be the head coach.
He's stuck with them, dude. I got a hot take about the fucking Detroit Lions possibly being Super Bowl winners this year because of how they've been able to keep that team together.
Just remember, we're on team AFC this year.
I know it's annoying. I've got so many NFC takes,
but
I'm working on it.
Listen, this year isn't gonna hurt Alex Van Pelt. If you really think about it, right? At the end of this year, he'll be graded on. Well, look at what they had, and let's see how they perform. Again, and not wins and losses, but if it's a serviceable offense and whoever the quarterback is, and if you have a 1,000-yard receiver and you have a 1,000-yard runner, so they say, okay, well, look what he did. Like he actually put together a pretty good offense with nothing. So it can help him. But yes, Ben Johnson is, and I don't know enough about everyone else's coordinators, but I just know that what he did to Detroit is like it's palpable. Everyone in the organization that was an organization of losers now believes that they're going to win, and it's because of obviously Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson. So he's my Sam Cassell.
Dave,
I don't mean to rain on your parade, but if you want to hire that guy, you're going to need to be hiring him as a head coach, right? So he's not going to laterally move to way worse offense. So it is what it is. But listen, I'm not going to lie to you. You guys have like a pretty decent, perhaps mediocre, depending on how you look at his career, quarterback coach as your offensive coordinator. That's tough. That's tough look. Right. I read somewhere that it's like he coached Rodgers. He was the QB coach for Rodgers in his MVP season, but they still let him walk at the end of his contract to go to the Bengals in the same job, which I don't know. Like Aaron Rodgers seems like really hard to get along with. Like he seems like a massive fucking prick, but like, I don't know what that tells you, Can't wait to talk about the Jets though, Mike, on AFC Day. Jesus Christ. Like, in fact, they're the favorite to win that division is bananas to me, but it's fine. Your division. It's a tough look, but you know what they could be doing, which really, really worked for us in Chicago, is they just might be the sacrificial lambs. You bring the offensive and the defensive coordinator along, and they're the ones that get their throats cut at the end of the season when somebody needs to be sort of offered up to the fan base as a sacrifice to throw into the volcano to appease. And so why not these two virgins, right? I think if you if you're playing 3D chess like that and positioning yourself to do that, that might be kind of smart because this is a throwaway season regardless. What I would be interested in though is you kind of need, like, he's going to keep his job if Brissett has the best possible Brissett season. Does that make sense? So if they get like a Geno Smith before all those weird injuries type of year out of him, remember, like, was it last year, 2 years ago? Geno Smith had like a pretty good return, right? Over 4,000 yards.
You brought me off, finding it right back. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was like last year, what was the kid's name on Washington that almost threw for 4,000 yards? He had a decent year, the quarterback. Jesus, why can't I say
Sam Howell?
Yeah, Sam Howell had like a good year. Like if he has a year like that, I think you're seeing like the emergence of a really talented coaching staff, right? Like this is going to be a really good test. He's the exact kind of quarterback, I think is what I'm trying to say, that you can see the impact the coaches are going to have on him, right? If he has his exact range of what he's able to do, right? What a terrible season of him looks like, and what a really overperforming season of him looks like. And I think it's a great audition for your coordinators, because here's the thing. There's a lot of really talented coordinators out there. I wouldn't worry about it too much, to be honest. If he can't call plays, it'll be really frustrating to watch, but it's not going to be any different. Like one of the worst offenses I've ever fucking watched is the last year of Cam Newton in New England. So it's, it's not,
even then they would be the top 5 rushing offense. Even when
that was
yeah, but I mean the play calling. Come on, you must have been frustrated.
Sure, but I'm saying, but even then, it was just like
play calling's hard.
Yeah,
it's fucking hard. Not that many people are good at it. It's that's just the way it is. So I don't know. Maybe I think that this guy's resume is thin, right? Like that's why I say he's
paper thin.
He's
yeah, thin. Ridiculous.
But you never know. You never know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I mean, the problem is when you get to the top, when you get more and more jobs, less and less people under you, right? Because you only work for certain people. And I don't know, maybe he just hasn't been around enough where he's like made contacts. And the thing is he came up in this system, right? So the coaching tree of guys that he knows and trusts, they're all doing other shit, right? So they're all like, he's part of a system that's kind of like grinding to a halt at this point. So you go get a McVay guy, or in this case, a guy who coached the Packers and the Cowboys to sort of mediocre returns. So it is what it is, but you got to give him a run, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they don't have a choice, but I do think because the guy that we didn't bring up, it's been brought up on shows here, and I think even Ashley too, was Nick Haley, right? Nick Haley was here before, right? And I think Nick Haley is over. He's either in Houston or LA. I can't remember which one he's at, but I think he was on board with coming. From what I heard and read, like he was on board with coming. They didn't want to pay him, send him out. But that's what I'm saying about the old bullshit. And I'm not blaming it on Mayo. I think this is more of a crowd thing. It's like you brought Van Pelt and some other people here because you didn't have to fucking pay them because they get paid from other teams.
Right.
That's the shit I'm talking about. That's gotta fucking stop.
Yeah, but that's not the time to do that right now. That was a smart move, if you ask me. Like, to me, it's like you're, dude. If you want to crash the car, don't put a good driver in the car. Like you're trying to crash this car right now. Like that's what you're trying to do.
But
if they turn out to be good, great.
Something though, like you said, you're building something. You get someone here that's gonna start building that foundation.
Yeah, right. Because you're just taking a punt on these guys though. Like they might be really smart. You might see an offensive coordinator be like, all right, I'm gonna work with the tools I have. You can't really teach pass blocking, right? Like you're either a talented pass blocker or you're not. Let's build an increasingly irrelevant strength base, but at least we'll see something like to in order to keep our jobs. We're gonna teach these guys how to run block because they're big and they're mean and they're nasty and they can run out ahead of a guy. And you guys have a scary underrated running back room. All 3 of your running backs. That guy Hasty's good. Like I've already mentioned Stevenson. All 3 of your running backs are solid runners. And they all bring different things to the table. You might be able to put together a great, and you have a veteran, essentially a veteran QB to sort of like call the X's and O's in that situation. You might have a good running game. You know what I mean?
That's never been an issue up here, running back wise. Like that's from the time that we've been fans, like from Kevin Falk to J.R. Redmond to Lawrence Murray, like you name it. Like they've always had some.
So what if you have a great running game and a really solid defense? Like that's something to build on.
Well, I think the defense the last 2-3 years has still been in the top.
I think your roster on paper doesn't look terrible from the defensive side of the ball. There's
defensively,
I recognize.
Defensively, I mean, some guys still got to get healthy. I mean, obviously losing Barmore for the year, if not longer, hurts a lot, especially when they just gave them an extension. But the most important thing is him to get right and get healthy.
But also, I mean, Kyle Duggar. Right?
Yeah, love Duggar.
He's primed, though. He's primed. He's gonna be a top 10 safety when Drake Maye is starting every single game for you guys. He's 23 years old right now.
Yeah.
So
and if Christian Gonzalez can actually turn into a top 10 corner, like this defense is fine. Like that's not going to be an issue. I mean, they let up 19 points a game last year, and they were 4-13 because they only scored 16 points a game.
Right. But I mean, but that's again to your point, Mike. Like they were in most games.
Yeah,
they were in most games. Once again,
2 years ago, you guys were talking about your defense being elite, and it's not that far off from it. You know what I mean? I think
they had a 3 or 4 week stretch last year where teams didn't score more than 15 points against them.
Yeah,
and lost all of them.
That's what you want. I mean, I want to.
Are you kidding
compelling.
me? Say it again.
I want a little more compelling than that. Like I don't.
Wait, correct. It's like, damn. It's like you. I'm like, you're holding teams under 15 points, and they even played well against Kansas City last year. And it was
that German. That German.
It's like,
game,
damn.
right?
I know.
I got another positive for you guys, and this is something that nobody will ever be able to take from you. This is something I held on to in the real darkest days of the Chicago reign, and it's related to what you're talking about. You're never going to be easy to play in November, December, January. It's never going to be fun to go to New England during those months. So when you start to build up a team, like look at Miami last year. Miami rolled over and fucking died because it was a little cold when they had to play the Kansas City Chiefs. It was fucking pathetic. They absolutely shit the bed every single year. It cost Mike a fucking fantasy football championship because all his good players were Miami Dolphins, right? Like, so, you know, and you needed them to perform in the months where people in Miami are in hibernation. They've gone into seeing their own shadow and puckering their own butthole for the winter. Miami's never going to be able to do anything in those months. It sucks to go to New England in these months, and you can start to, and that right there is a pillar of a culture of football, right? Like I've always thought this about the Bears. I've been saying this to Vikings fans since the fucking cows come home. The Detroit Lions were so irrelevant for so long. I completely forgot that they were in a fucking dome, but now it worries me that they're like good, and I need them to. They don't have that advantage. If you're a cold weather team, you got to take the roof off your fucking house and always build that as a culture of your football, right? And like that's just a no-brainer, right? This is stuff that the Mayos of the world know in their bones from the days of being the best team on earth, right? Like this is, you know.
You're saying the
so
same
yes,
thing
it's going to be
last week.
It's going to be a tough start. It's going to be, you know, you're not going to be able to do all the exciting things that everyone's able to do. It's just going to be a lot of speculation. But by the time you hit November, maybe a team comes to town and that you shouldn't beat and you beat them, you know, like that. This is the kind of stuff we're trying to do. We're always trying to just like beat the Pats. Yeah. But if that's your 2 or 3 wins, you know, you build off that kind of stuff. You know, we're always trying to beat the fucking Packers, dude. We're always trying to beat the Packers. Tanking, not tanking. Just, I don't like losing to them. But you know, think actually irrelevant.
Right. And I'm glad you said that last part there before. I want to jump into the picks in a minute. But so think about what happened with the Lions turnaround, right, from a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
That game on a Sunday night in Green Bay, you know, they had nothing to play for. You know, we got to get a pick. They suck.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. Came into Green Bay and said, you're not getting a playoff spot on our watch. And it's turned everything around for that team. Like, so that's what I'm saying. That's to my point. Don't tell me that winning doesn't matter. Don't tell me.
No.
I get in your building. I get in your building for something, but don't tell me that winning.
We're not doing this shit. That's not happening. You're not rewriting history here.
You're doing a favor. Just call up the Panthers, dude. Just call up the Panthers. They'll give you their next year's pick, and you can do whatever you want this season.
Listen, if they did that, that'd be great. I would love that. I would not be upset.
Just to be clear, though, Ray, the Lions thought that they were playing for a playoff spot until 2 hours before that game.
No, it's about Green Bay. Green Bay, though. I thought Green Bay, not Detroit. That's what I was saying.
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago. I was saying Detroit. Detroit was saying Green Bay's not gonna get a spot on our watch. That's what I meant to say. Like,
I know what you're saying. They picked themselves up off the ground of that news, though. You know, I mean, there's a cultural aspect. I mean, because I was making that point about the pillars of culture. I do agree with Ray here. Like the thing that I made fun of them on this show when they brought their new coaching staff in Detroit. I was like, oh, he was like, I'm here to build a culture. I was like, oh, you're gonna build a football culture there in Detroit, a fucking culture. And he did. He fucking did. I couldn't believe it. I didn't think it was a real thing that he was saying. You know, I was like, whatever, dude. Like, you're either got good players or you don't. But they actually do have like an attitude, you know, like they have a chip on their shoulder. I weirdly like the Lions. I'm kind of rooting for them this year because, yeah, they're in our division. We're not going to win anything. I just want to make the playoffs. Like that's the goal. That would be the ceiling for me. But I got years on this Caleb Williams kid. But he did do that. Like they kind of live by the sword and die by the sword. Granted, they could have just made like a couple of smarter decisions in that game at the end of the year last year. All good. Right. But to me, I think they look like a team that could go all the way this year, you know, because they're built on a solid foundation, a solid bedrock. And who better to do that than somebody from the coaching side, which we all agree came in under the guy, the man. Forget the GM stuff from a coaching. And they did what you wanted, guys. They separated the jobs. You were fucking begging for that. I hope you were at least celebratory of that when it happened. I don't know if I was on the show with you, but I hope you were at least celebratory of the fact that you celebrated the jobs. Because you know what? They are 2 different jobs. They're 2 different full-time jobs. And giving one guy both jobs is kind of fucking stupid in and of itself. And just because someone's good at one thing doesn't mean he's good at the other. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. Just hire 2 guys. It's not a big deal. Right. But I got off track there. Yeah, culture. I mean, that's a real thing. And he's a guy to at least, like I was talking about, like walking around, taking the stuff off the walls. Like he's a guy to at least start that process, right? At least begin that process. And it doesn't matter if it's fucking Alex Van Pelt or whatever as your offensive coordinator right now, because you're not looking to put together a great offense.
Forgot about him. Completely forgot about him up there. Right. That another failed experiment. But like I said, that's enough of my depression. I want to get into I want to get into the week 1 games. We'll just make picks real quick and then we'll get up out of here. So next Thursday night starts with the rematch of the AFC championship game. So Baltimore versus Kansas City. So Dave, who you got in that one?
I tend to be pretty bullish on the Baltimore Ravens at this point in the season. I am starting to think Mike might be right about their quarterback's ability in crunch time and big games. That. I'm not decided on that yet, but
will be soon.
I think that the Chiefs actually they're kind of in a position where they might just do that thing they always do, which is like start a little slow. Not Cincinnati Bengals started the season slow, but they might start a little slow because they're just trying to figure everything out. And they're pretty cool, like they know that they know the games they really need to win. They know how they need to go out there and perform. And I think that Baltimore being Baltimore, I mean, I love that roster. I really do love that Ravens roster, especially their defense. I like when the Baltimore Ravens defense is good. Reminds me of being a little kid again. But yeah, I don't know. I think they might just come out like gung ho, And is it in Arrowhead though?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then if I was laying money on it, I'd lay money on the Chiefs 100%. Like in Arrowhead, Chiefs every time. But that's a fun one. I mean, I really appreciate the matchmakers for starting us off like this because those are two of the best teams. So that's what we want to see when we're kicking off, when we're re-injecting the black tar heroin that is this NFL product.
Well, Mike,
I am betting money on it. And I am betting on Baltimore.
Interesting.
I mean, Chiefs,
your bet against Patrick Mahomes is a sucker's bet, though.
No. Early in the season, because just like you mentioned, they always tend to.
I agree with you on paper, but it's just putting your money against Pat Mahomes. He'll take your money.
He didn't last year. I bet on Detroit, so I'm trying to go 2 for 2.
Enough. That was like, what did they win that game by? Like 2? It was like a tight game.
21-20. But once again, that catapulted the Detroit season too. It went on a great run.
Yeah.
So it matters.
Yeah. Winning is culture. I completely agree with you there, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I'm riding with Kansas City as well. I think it's going to be close. As far as the Lamar Jackson point, I think that he as someone who had been a supporter of him, I do think last year to me was close to the breaking point where it's like, yo, if you didn't get 15,
it really looked like the thing.
It's like, dude, if you didn't get 15 now, bro, I don't know. I kind
of feel like the Chiefs were begging for someone to beat them too. Like they were like, if you're gonna beat us, now would be the time. And no one could.
I think they come in super motivated to do something that hasn't been done in the modern era.
He's just a faster Dak Prescott.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far. I think he's more. I think he's more gifted. I think he's more gifted than. I think he's more gifted than Dak Prescott at every level athletically.
Yeah, agree.
I think he's smarter than Dak Prescott.
Sure, absolutely. In the regular season,
I think he did more with less before they gave him weapons than Dak Prescott ever could. And I think a more appropriate comparison is Kirk Cousins, and which is one you've made before, where he. I know they're not the same color, but they are when they're on their fucking couch at the end of the fucking season, right? Like. Is he more athletically gifted than Kirk Cousins? Of course. Can he do more things like with his feet than Kirk Cousins? Sure. But Kirk Cousins is talented until it's crunch time, right? Like that just is what it is. We're going to see 100 quarterbacks before we die that have more raw talent than Tom Brady. But Tom Brady was that dude. So, it's
I would just like everything that you just said though about my comparison of Lamar and Dak is right, except just look at their playoff record.
No, I would argue so because
I'm
sorry. I'm sorry.
Let's keep moving on.
Because I don't think Dak Prescott is as good, like all the time, as Lamar Jackson is.
That shit, Craig.
Do you know what I mean?
That should be a good one. But next,
do you know what I mean? though? Do you know what I mean?
No, I spent so much time laughing. I thought that shit was hilarious.
No, but I want to know how you feel about like. Do you think that that's an apt comparison? I feel like that's fucking unfair.
No, it's definitely unfair. But I want to get to all the picks. But I'm like, it's wild. That's wild.
That just seems fucked up. That seems like a really mean thing to say, dude.
I meant it.
What
did Lamar Jackson do to you?
What are we doing? Listen,
I think I kind of might agree that he might not be the guy to get it done in Baltimore.
I don't want
and he's a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
And his family sucks.
I just don't want you.
House is ugly.
You feel me? It's like I'm like okay. Listen, you're gonna hear first. Lamar is not the next Prescott. Mike Marcangelo, 2024.
That's fucked up.
Cool. Next game. Let's take it up. We gotta move to this. I know we're getting short on time. So for the first time, I think now they have games have been on Peacock before, but now with the new deal, having Friday Night Lights. Woo! Shout out to J. Cole, one of the best mixtapes of all time.
Shout out to Kyle Chandler and Coach Taylor.
Yeah, that too. Yeah,
that's right.
You know, so Green Bay versus Philadelphia. Mike, we got that one
in Brazil, right?
Yeah,
this is in Brazil.
Yeah,
So I'm taking Green Bay. I don't. After like the fall and the cliff of the Eagles last year, I'm not convinced that that's fixed. I still think that there's some weird shit going on between the head coach and the quarterback, and I just think, I'm sorry, DK, I'm really not doing this to piss you off, because you and I actually agreed about this a couple weeks ago. I think Green Bay has their guy. I think Jordan Love is it, and I think he's for real. I think Philly's going to be good this year, but I think this is one that you can steal from them early. So I get Green Bay in this one.
I actually agree with everything you just said. I find Philadelphia really creepy. Like, they're creeping me out. They're making me feel very uncomfortable. There's something not right over there. There's something absolutely not right. There's some sort of like virus that they don't know about yet, and it's only HIV now, but it's going to turn into full-blown AIDS. Like, you can just see it coming, right? Like, the noises out of the kind of Jason Kelsey's of the world, where he's still very media trained, but some of the stuff coming out of his mouth, I'm like, he didn't love, like, I think that guy had one more year in him, and I think he looked around the locker room and he was like, AIDS. I'm not doing this. This is AIDS town. I'm not fucking doing this. So he pieced out. You know, he was like, there's no point in putting my body on the line for a team I don't believe in. That's the only like logical explanation. Physically, I think he had a year left in him. Coach, weird, super weird. Jalen Hurts' injuries last year, weird. Talent, definitely. Over 8 wins, of course. Conversation with the elite, I don't think so. Not come January. And I agree that the Packers are good. Oh God, that tasted like fucking bile in my mouth. Oh God, I need a second there. I agree Jordan Love's good. I agree the Packers are good. I'm shifting it into, we're going to be the best division of football in 2 years. That's where I'm trying to like get my brain.
It could be this season. Respectfully, it could be this season.
I mean, honestly, like, as far as like the Bears' expectation goes, like, I'm just keeping it very, very low. Like, I'm not trying to go crazy here. I just want to get through the fucking year healthy. I want him to get through the year healthy. I want to see some cool plays. Like, I'm not asking for a lot. So the Packers doing well, fine. Also, when you go to Brazil, I think the on-paper team, a better team, which is still Philadelphia, which I think you would agree with, Mike, regardless of your point, like on roster to roster, I think Philadelphia has better players. But you go to fucking Brazil, don't put your money on this. This is just going to even everything out. It's going to make it weird. Don't bet on any London games either. I learned that lesson the hard way. Don't bet on any London games. Don't bet on any Brazil games. Anything can happen. It gets really fucking strange. It's not worth it. But I do agree with literally everything you said. I think Green Bay is going to win. I think we're going to see probably a Jordan Love coming out party. If his playoff coming out party last year wasn't that, because it was a little overshadowed by our lovely rookie down in Texas, CJ. I think Jordan Love's going to have a great year. I just want to beat him twice. That's all.
Right. I'm
ready.
Clean sweep. I'm going
clean sweep. Wow. We all picked the Packers. I'll just go fucking kill myself, I guess. Sweet.
Yeah. I mean, let's say, you guys said everything, but yeah, Love, let's say, obviously he balled out in the playoffs for the most part. Had a really good year overall. So yeah, I think that he's on.
He's good.
He's good. He's real good.
I've been saying it. I mean, I've forced myself to say it.
Yeah, it's like I say, it won't be what came before him, but like I say, he'll have his run. This does not need much to be said. Like, we use the term ball game on here. I use it a lot mostly, but this is a ball game situation. So New England versus Cincinnati, we can just say ball game. We don't have to give reasons why Cincinnati's
straight up. I'll take Cincinnati, but it's the spread. I'll take New England. Cincinnati starts slow every year. Doesn't matter. I think it's 6.
Listen, Dave.
Dude, when's the last time Cincinnati started 3-1?
Huh?
Cincinnati doesn't start fast, dude. They just don't.
Oh, stop. This team is not. Come on, Dave. Come on, man. Like, just say this is gonna win by 40 so we can move on. Come on. This is not. This is a joke. There's no way.
I would take New England with a 6-point spread. I really would. I'm so sorry.
We're both still picking Cincinnati to win.
I also think Cincinnati might have.
Like, there's no way. Y'all do.
I also think Cincinnati.
No way.
I also think Cincinnati might have AIDS, though. I really think they might have AIDS. Also, I think that the whole Jamar Chase thing is weird. The whole Jamar Chase thing is really weird. They do always start really slow. Burrow's injury last year was weird. We didn't know enough about it. Like, I always feel like if they're not saying anything, it's worst case. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it can be really, really rough. So, I'm not as like, I'm healthily skeptical about the Patriots season. I do think they're going to win 4 games because I'm not stupid, but I am, but I'm not stupid about this because this is all I think about. But I think I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if their defense overperforms in the very first game against like a Cincinnati team that never get its fucking shoes on in the first 5 games.
What we're saying is straight up, we're taking Cincinnati to win, but we would pick New England in the spread just for the points. It's going to be a close game. I guarantee it.
Next, I'm not doing this. Pittsburgh versus Atlanta. Dave, who you got? Moves in your house.
Is it me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Pittsburgh.
There you go.
Because I do think Atlanta's weird. I don't think that they have any communicable diseases at all.
Oh. And there's any place that has that.
I'm taking Pittsburgh because my wife is a Steelers fan.
Yeah, thank you. Right.
Yeah, Pittsburgh all the way. Let's go Steelers. Yeah.
I'll take Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta too. Like I said, Russ is done. I finally hopped off the bandwagon. Dave got on me 3 years ago. I was right about it then.
Yeah, but Justin Fields is going to be their quarterback by week 5. That'll be fun.
Yeah. And then, Mike Tomlin will hold on to his record of making him, not having to lose. And
my man cannot hit a wide open, like down the middle pass. And I didn't want to tell anyone that when it was like a trade stock, but he can't. But man, he's fun to watch run. So yeah. Let's watch him.
Yeah, it's coming. It's just like once again, but yeah, that should be a good one regardless. But next year, Arizona versus Buffalo. Mike.
Bills.
I have Buffalo as like a sleeping giant this year. I have kind of a rejuvenated and pissed off Josh Allen narrative for me in my head.
Don't give away too much, DK. We are Team AFC.
Yes, no, I know. I'm just giving this is the preview. This is just the sneak peek. What do you guys call it? A big market tease. I'm just saying. I think I have a whole diatribe about them being a sleeping giant and like Stephon Diggs leaving is both good for him and good for the Bills. I have a whole thing about it. So tune in next week for the game show.
And once again, we're just giving a picture of the game. We're not giving the records. We're just saying just picture of the game. So that's
okay.
Fine.
Great.
Yeah,
I'm gambling in my head while you guys are talking. I'm like, that's the point, Mike, and I'm like writing down spreads. I'm like, what's the juice on that?
I'm looking Buffalo too. Like Arizona does, they're far away too. Like they're 2 years to be 2 years away as well. So they're not that good.
What are you guys gonna say about Caleb Williams' debut? I'm on my.
Oh, here we go. This next game, baby. I'll leave with that. We'll let you close with that one. So, Tennessee versus Chicago. Listen, I think that this is going to be a slaughter. I think Chicago wins at least by 10.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
come on.
I think Caleb Williams has a Cam Newton type performance like he had in 2011, week 1. And he puts the world on nose like, hey. I'm that guy here to stay. So I think
a lot of motherfuckers to throw the ball to. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of motherfuckers out there to throw the ball to.
Chicago wins by 10. So
I have the Bears in a landslide that will cause like that ESPN and all the pundits to start saying like, are they?
Oh my god, you're giving me the curse. Mike always has to leave some sauce on it, dude.
I'm just saying.
He's like, and it's gonna be annoying how they win, and you're gonna be trying to tamp down pressure. While
I mean,
because I don't want any pressure. I'm trying to uninvite it.
Tennessee's just going to be outgunned. I mean,
they're just not good, are they? They're not a good team. It's not going to prove anything about the Bears if we beat them. And it's a lot to lose, little to gain kind of game for us to start out with, to be honest, because we should beat them, I think. And if we don't, it's going to raise more questions than if we do.
You're right. I think the pressure is on them to win because of how
you mean him, right?
The discrepancy.
And the pressure's on him to win, right? That's what you meant to say. Because it's really on him, isn't it?
No,
shit, I'm letting it in.
All Caleb has to do is not be the reason they lose. That's it.
Okay, great. Okay, you're absolutely right about that. You can't really say that to him though. You know what I mean? Like, that's not good coaching. you can't be like, just don't fuck it up, kid. Like, I agree with you.
Play smart, be smart. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah, no. I think what I really liked, especially out of the Hard Knocks, is like they're Eberflus has had this thing about like execution, like executing the little things means you execute the big things. It just sounds like it's right. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things that sounds like, okay, yeah, I can get behind that. And like, I think from what I've seen, I know that nobody ever looks bad on Hard Knocks, and I do understand it's like Bears propaganda. I am injecting it right into my fucking eyeballs, but like, I am trying to temper it down. I'm trying to tamper down the overall pressure that is going to be put on this season. And I do think that like the pundits, or at least the ones I listen to and respect from time to time, have been like pretty fair to Caleb Williams, to be honest. Like, they're kind of like, there's kind of like a hankering right now for him to be good. I feel like there's actually more sentiment on his side right now because of where the Bears have been over the past few years, like what the kid's kind of demeanor and the Hard Knocks and, you know, all the kind of bad press was a little nasty, I think, about him. Like, it was a little bit like identity politics as opposed to like, is he good at football? And that to me just said like, oh, you don't really have any criticisms, like valid ones about his game. So now we're talking about the fact that he paints his fucking nails, right? So here we are. Everything I've gathered from like how the kid carries himself, like he's got a singular and unique personality, but I've seen enough that I think he might be a psycho. And I mean that in like the best possible way. Like, I've seen enough that I'm like, I think he might be one of those people who's like, and I think this is what some people have been seeing and trying to like piece together. I do think he lives like one door down from the rest of us, if you will. So, and I think that might be the best possible quality in an athlete of that level, you know, because there's that clip that went viral where he was like, my first game, I felt pressure. I haven't really felt it since then. I was like, oh, I believe him. Oh no. I was like, oh no, what a loony. Because like, I feel pressure watching him. So, you know, I guess they're just cut from different cloths, but I don't want to put too much pressure or onus on the kid winning this game, because I'm not letting anybody say that it's his job to win us games yet. I'm just not.
It is not.
It just isn't. So all good. Whatever happens. I think I'll be noticing some nuances. What I really like is our depth. I think that our second best and third best guys are great. And I think we have a lot of like really cool rotations and looks defensively that we can throw at Tennessee. And I think we're going to stop the run, which will be fun to watch. Overall, I gotta pick Chicago. Sorry, I went on for so long.
You don't say. So next we have Houston versus the Colts. So Mike, start with you.
I think Indy's going to be dramatically different than they were last year, as long as Anthony Richardson is healthy. It's a divisional game. It's tough. Give me Houston.
Yeah, I got Houston at like between 11 and 13 wins this year, to be totally honest. I think they've made like incredibly smart roster moves. Sorry for burying the lead, Mike, for the preview show again. I prepped for it. I thought we were going to do it today. It's like, that's where my brain is. I didn't want to like get blue balls, so I came on this show. I was like, all right, let's do at least a fucking podcast, right? Yeah, I got Houston. I really like Houston. I really like CJ Stroud. I think he's going to avoid a sophomore slump because he's talented enough. And I'm really excited to watch them. He's got weapons now. He made weapons. He turned motherfuckers into weapons. So he's fun to watch play football, and he's none of my team's business this year. So I hope him and Caleb Williams have like the duel of the fucking fates, like Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan Kenobi on the fucking mountaintop in 3 to 5 years time. Like, that would be sick. So like the NFL's primed for talent, and I'm picking the Houston Texans to win.
Yeah, I'm going with Houston as well. I mean, I think Indianapolis, like I said, the Colts will be better. Like you said, Mike, as someone who's a Gator fan, I hope Anthony Richardson does well, because I feel like he
famously a Gator fan. I think that's in the lore of the podcast at this point. Is your allegiances to the Gators, to UNC, right?
Yep.
And and you got one other weird college team that I'm not remembering.
No, it's just them two.
Oh no, it's just that you have a strong opinion on the conferences. You're like, if you're not from this conference, you're fucking trash.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Yeah, I still stand by that.
Yeah.
It's been true.
I mean,
yeah, so no, yeah, Houston should dominate this game. I said Stroud was amazing last year, and like I said, there's no reason to see that he slows down. So they added to the core, and I think they dominate. So I can't wait to see that one. Next battle of Florida, Duval County versus Miami-Dade County. Dolphins versus Jaguars. So Dave, what we got in that one?
I really didn't like the look of Miami at the end of last season. I really thought they died a tragic death. I think they were like the fun, hot, sexy team for a little while, but like the city itself, it quickly fades, right? It's not 1986 anymore, boys. Like we need to go home and see our wives. So I don't know. I think the sparkle maybe goes off them this year. I just have that kind of weird gut feeling. And it's kind of Jacksonville. It's time to start it up at the QB position down there. We're either going to do it or we're not. Right at this point, I think it's time to start looking at the report card. So I actually like Jacksonville in this game. To be honest, I think the end of last season matters. I think that was a terrible way to die on the battlefield for Miami. It really didn't look good. I could be wrong. They could have exercised those demons in the offseason. I do like their coaching staff, but. Yeah, I don't know. I like Jacksonville in this game. I kind of like Jacksonville again. Preview. Kind of like Jacksonville.
Dolphins always start in games fast and seasons fast.
Yeah, they probably are pretty good. They only get shitty November. I made 2 contradicting points on the same show.
I just stop giving so much intel on your fucking AFC picks, please. I got Miami.
I'm gonna go with the Jaguars on this one.
Mac Jones.
They got something to prove. Yeah, I mean, listen, he looked really good in the preseason, so kudos to him.
He's gonna look great in a baseball cap. Like I've been telling Mike for years.
Yes, yeah, he is. But there was idiots on. So you see what happens when you actually give him some actual weapons. Yeah, like, he was never going to figure it out here, unfortunately. And once again, it wasn't all his fault, but he was.
Those baseball caps, they look so nice, crisp, right out of the box for TV.
Yeah, I mean, once again, he
barely took the stickers off.
He hit up Atlantic Ave. Once again, he's from there. He hit up Atlantic Ave.
He's living a great life. I'm jealous.
You go to Zaxby's over there, and yeah, it's gonna be great. So it's gonna be
perspective.
Yeah, love that. Great. But yeah, Jacksonville finds a way to get that done on that first Sunday. So next game is probably the worst game of the weekend.
Who gives a shit? I was gonna say, whoever wins, are we even gonna notice?
I'm gonna say so. I'm like, hey, we had this like real quick. It's like New Orleans next.
Correct.
Yeah. We all lose. We all lose.
Yeah.
Stuck watching this game.
Next, Minnesota versus New York Giants. So, Mike.
I got the Giants, and this is why I hate Hard Knocks, because once I start watching them, I start believing in every team that's featured on it and all the players. I think they made some really good additions on defense. I think Neighbors is going to be awesome. And again, I don't think there's going to be a big drop off between their running backs now and Saquon and Minnesota. I mean, come on.
Minnesota.
Yeah. So give me the Giants.
Dave.
I'm hoping that the New York Football Giants absorb the Hard Knocks juju on behalf of the Chicago Bears this year, and they do come out and shit game 1 as like the Hard Knocks team is supposed to. I hope it's them and not us. So I'm taking the Minnesota Vikings in this game because they still have the best wide receiver, arguably, in the NFL. Malik Neighbors. The kids use the term glazing. Have you heard it? The kids, they're saying glazing these days. A lot of Malik Neighbors glazing I've seen on the interwebs.
I have no idea what that means.
It means they're like, people are. I'm gathering like they're over complimentary at like they're. I think he's bordering on overrated to perform at his position and maybe unfairly. Same with Marvin Harrison Jr. Like some of the fantasy football projections for his ADP, his average draft position, compared to what kind of a season you should expect.
That's because of who's throwing to them though, right?
Yeah, but I just think it's a lot to expect from a year one, like anyone. Like let's not heap. I have a weird feeling about the heaping of expectations on this wide receiver class, and I just want everyone to like calm the fuck down for a second. Not you, all those other idiots. But yeah, in that case, I'm still taking Minnesota.
Attaboy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Giants, but just by maybe 2 or 3 times. I don't think this is gonna be a great game. I do think Neighbors is gonna be pretty good, but like I said, maybe not right away. The kid they got from Tennessee last year, Hyatt, definitely he's a talker, and I think he is someone that is looking to prove people wrong. So maybe they become a good 1-2 combo in the future, but they won't reach what they're supposed to reach as long as Daniel Jones is their quarterback. They gave him that money. The man claimed to fame.
What happened there, guys? Like Jesus
Or
Christ.
no, the claim to fame is a nice 80-yard run that he stumbled, bumbled, and fell to the ground. Shout out to Chris Berman. I just it's a shame. The man got $160 million because of that play, and that's wild. And once again, I wish I could stumble. I could stumble to the ground from 160 as well. I mean, we'd be all set.
I do a lot more than that for 160.
Yeah, you feel
if someone comes to the concrete offer, you'd be surprised what I would get up to.
Shit, stop playing with me. So yeah,
you'd be real shocked.
Like that's that. But yeah, like even I remember with them a couple years ago. I feel like Dable had a good.
He's skinny now. He doesn't have that same he doesn't.
Yeah, he doesn't have that same play, but we'll see.
I don't like it. I look like a guy who fucking he's a football coach before.
Now, it's. I mean, it seems like when a couple years ago when they went in there and won that first game and they went for 2 when everyone would say go for the extra point and he went for the 2. It was like okay, like maybe they would build something there.
And who they beat?
Go ahead.
And who they beat in that playoff run? Minnesota.
Minnesota, yeah, they did.
Well, Minnesota, you have to remember their favorite was playoff games. It was great. It was like you could set your fucking watch to it. I don't know if it's gonna be the same anymore, but I don't even think it's gonna be
we'll see. Right. Right. So next, we have the Raiders versus Chargers. So Dave, we got that one.
I mean, I don't know. Like, are Las Vegas so badly run and shit that they accidentally win too many games this year? Are they the accidentally win too many games than you should because you're awful and you need to be more awful? I think they're weird. They could win 9 games and I wouldn't even be that surprised, to be honest with you, because I just really have no idea what's going on over there. The Chargers, I'm willing to just give them another look under a new coaching regime.
Fucking incredible. It's fucking incredible.
What? Go ahead. What?
9 games for the Raiders. Check AFC. Tell me about the other AFC team in this game, DK.
I'm not. I didn't say 9 for them.
That's exactly what you said.
I was throwing people off the scent. No, for my official AFC. So sorry. You're right. You're right.
I know.
All I can do is hold my hand up and say you're right. I'm doing the game show. Right now.
I know.
I need to stop. I was ready. I know. At least I was prepping. So I'm trying to keep the streak alive, bro. I feel like I'm holding you down. I'm trying to bring it. Mike's undefeated in the prediction game. All right. Yeah. Sorry. Shutting up. I'll take the Chargers.
Mike.
Yeah. Harbaugh first game back. Retooled offense. Give me the Chargers.
Coaching was the problem there. So
let's give him a look. Sure.
Let's give him a look.
Yeah, that's it was clear. It wasn't it's no.
Now let's see. Now we have some confidence.
Yeah, that rocket with the Chargers there too. But to the Raiders' point, I think that because that locker room believes in Antonio Pierce, they're absolutely going to win more games than they should. Absolutely.
It's weird, right? They weirdly have that scent about them. It's strange.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
You want to give a number too?
I wouldn't say a number though. I wouldn't want to say a number.
I can't because I'm on the other side, so I'll say it. But it's I don't think 9 wins is thing, but I can see them going 7-10. I can see that happening.
That's not what I wrote down. That's not. I said not.
Oh my God, I know.
Sorry, now we've rounded the corner. Now
I'll throw it. So next game. We got a few more left to we're out of here. So Denver versus Seattle. So go ahead, Mike.
Bo Nix's first start. He was just in the starter. I'm gonna go with the Broncos. This isn't Pete Carroll's Seahawks anymore. So I think it's gonna be a weird year for them.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed, totally. I think that Pete Carroll was doing a weekend at Bernie's with that Seahawks roster. I kept looking at them on paper and I was like, how do they have 7 wins? How do they have 8 wins? they have some talented players that like you would have a couple on your fantasy team, but I think, but yeah, Pete Carroll being out of there, I do think they had like something like a negative 35 like point differential last year, and they still somehow managed to win. Like to be above, they were 9-8, I think, and it's just like, oh man, like how Pete Carroll, he's a talented coach. It was probably time for him to go, but like he was still able to prop that corpse up, and yeah, they could tank pretty hard, I think. We had like a 2 years ago argument about their roster. I was like, dude, it's got some flaws. Like, remember that whole famous like back and forth when I had the clip went fucking big. You were like, are you high? And I was like, dude, I'm telling you, the roster is like not good. It's like it's got these flaws, and it just took a couple years for me to be proven right. I guess you could probably say it about any take, but yeah, for that reason, yeah, I'm excited to see Bo Nix. I'm a little dubious on him comparatively to the other draftees, but I am excited to see him, especially in Mile High. No, it's not in Mile High. It's in Seattle. I am excited to see him in Mile High, though, because it's, I think it's cool to watch quarterbacks with an arm perform in that stadium.
Yeah. I mean, listen, when you're the new generation Chris Rinke, he's also like, he's about 30 years old, Bo Nix coming into the league, you better fucking perform.
Yeah. He's got to be ready made.
You better,
like,
you know what I'm saying?
Collecting retirement checks pretty soon. So.
Yeah, exactly. So you got the trust fund and everything. So, but
I don't know. Bo Nix, fucking, he's like from the 1930s. So is his name.
Right. Yeah. Bo. Well, we're gonna see your Bo nose come Sunday. So
I'm excited though.
I am too. I think he'll play well. I think Denver finds a way to win. Like I agree with you, Mike. Like this is not the LO. Well, how about say LOD? I'm a wrestler fan, but no, that's the Legion. It's not the Legion of Boom there. So it's a wrap. So yeah, Denver wins probably in a close one on the road there. Next, this is actually one of the games I'm actually excited to see. Dallas versus Cleveland. So DK, I'll start with you on that one.
Clearly, Cleveland. Clearly, this is the year that all the chickens are going to come home to roost in Dallas, dude. You can just see it. It's written in the stars. You do not have to be Nostradamus to see what's about to happen in the Dallas Cowboys season. It's a disaster. Okay, so they did the thing that like a good team is supposed to do. This is what they always do. They cosplay as a good team. They did the thing a good team is supposed to do. They're like, we have a top 3 wide receiver, like arguably top 2 wide receiver. Lock up your assets. Like, let's do this. For what? For what? Look at their backfield. I mean, I know running backs don't really matter, but Jesus Christ, where did they get their running backs from? 2018? Did they build a time machine? Because then it's the best fucking backfield in the NFL. But it's not 2018 anymore. And they did some bad nothings in the offseason. Cleveland has the most cap space, and they still have like kind of decent players. I don't know what Chubb's going to look like coming back. I mean, it's weird. They're hard to predict. I wouldn't love having any of them on my fantasy team because I weirdly went hard on them last year and like everybody died. Like fucking everybody just fell out of the bus on the way to the fucking stadium, and I had to like try and recover. But yeah, I mean, I think this is the year the wheels come off in Dallas. Jerry Jones is probably going to be fucking found unresponsive by like week 7. I mean, we're waiting for that. That's coming, dying in his fucking study or wherever he hangs out as like an old fucking rich billionaire. And then he'll probably come back to life in a few years. Like he'll be the first to have signed up for the brain in the jar technology or whatever. And we'll just have to deal with him for even longer. We're finally going to see them just fall apart. Like his old rickety Mr. Burns ass fucking body.
I love so much that that DK is finally. I think we're gonna have a great year talking about Dallas, and we can because they're not me.
I'm mad at that. I went in on that defense. I really thought that they were like going to be sick.
But I'm taking Cleveland. I think Cleveland. Listen, Dallas doesn't always start out great, and especially with CD not being a participant in any training camp for like the last 30 days, I think it's gonna be rough.
He was closing a multi-million-dollar deal. Okay.
Yeah. So give me Cleveland. I'm gonna say Cleveland in a 2-score game too.
Nice. I got Cleveland too. I don't know about that much, but I got Cleveland winning as well. They're the better team. Once again, on paper, you can say what you want about Dallas, but like you said, I agree with you, DK. Like it's about to be chaos. Once again, it's always chaos, but it's like I think they already lost the plan for a few weeks. Who's become Mr. Pick 6 in the NFL. You don't know what Diggs is going to be coming back from his injury, so there's a lot of questions on that side of the ball. But I mean, I felt like with the Dalvin Cook thing, like I felt like it was kind of like it's like, damn, here you want a running back, you wanted me to sign a running back. I know it wasn't Derrick Henry, but here you go. So, and once again, for those that listen to me from Miami, I know where he's from. Shout out to the Rockets. I know where he's from. I'm not just not shade. I know some of these people in real life. Yes, there's not shade on Devin Cook. Once again, but this is not what he was. He's not what he once was. So hopefully he can be something again in a platoon role. But like I said, it's not going to be the same as it was before. But either way, Cleveland wins this game at least by a touchdown. So next we have Washington versus Tampa Bay. I'll lead with that. I'm on the Jaden Daniels bandwagon. I think that he's going to be really good. So
yes,
I'm rocking with Washington here. I think they win at least by 10 down in Raymond James Stadium. So
I was begging for Jaden Daniels to be a New England Patriot. I started that last September. I was so close, but I'm also on that. And just remember, they have a pretty sneaky offense. I mean, Jaden Daniels and it's Brian Robinson Jr. The backup running back is Austin Eckler. Then you got scary Terry McLaurin. Zach Ertz is your tight end. I mean, they should be at least the best offense that we've seen from Washington since Kirk Cousins left.
Yeah. Dave?
Yeah, I agree. I think Washington are there to be watched. I think now that they've sort of plugged that position that was kind of the weakest part of like a decently functioning offense. It wasn't it rolled, at times. They had highlights last year that I distinctly remember. Tampa Bay still have like kind of a weirdly good roster, like left over from like previous eras. Like there's bones to be picked there, and there's guys that make plays on a week-to-week basis still. But that being said, I only say that to temper the expectations of 10 points. I would maybe take a 6-point spread, but they win by field goal. I would probably predict if I was being more nailing it down. But I do agree wholeheartedly with the sentiment that Washington are an exciting team to watch. Everybody's going to be paying attention to them. They're going to be fun to talk about. And for that reason, I would like them to win the game.
Yeah. That should be one of the more exciting ones that weekend. So, two more games left to go. So the Sunday night game, the Matt Stafford Bowl, Rams versus Detroit. I think Detroit wins this, at least by 10 points. I think them.
No.
Once again, they gonna be charged up Sunday night. Them boys are running through a wall for Dan Campbell, and I think they're gonna put it on LA. Once again, I like Puka. I like I've always been a Matt Stafford guy, and he's gonna have a good performance. But I think between St. Brown and the rest of those boys on that team, it's gonna be a wrap. They're gonna come in there strong on that Sunday night. They win by 10 on over the night. So, Dave.
I mean, outside of the Bears game, this is the game I'm looking forward to the most. I think this might be the best rivalry in football right now because of all the context, the narrative, and storylines like swimming around it. We could spend another hour talking about the last 3 times these teams have met. I think I'm so high on Detroit as a team, the coaching staff, and where they can go this year. I also doubt McVay at my own peril. I have a lot of respect for that coaching staff, and I think that they're going to be better than they were last year roster-wise. It's a hard one to predict. I'll be really honest with you. I really think it could go either way, but I'm so high on Detroit, I have to take Detroit. But I think it's going to be a hell of a game. I really do. I know it's a cop-out, but I really do think it's going to be a fun game.
No, it is. It's going to be a great game.
Yeah, I think Detroit's going to win too. I don't think it's going to be by 10. I have them by like 3.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, like I said, Matt, but listen, if there's anyone that can gunsling with anyone in this league,
that's the thing. I think both offenses are going to make plays. So it's just about like how the game sort of how the cards unfold. I like when these two teams meet. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, offense will be running their gun on both sides. So we'll see. And then last but not least, we see
battle for the most dysfunctional student award.
Yeah, we got the New York Jets against the San Francisco 49ers. So, Mike, I'll start with you on that one.
Hope Aaron Rodgers stays healthy. Hope he plays the full game. Mm-hmm. And I know he and the Jets are going to lose by 10 points. I mean, I think San Francisco also starts fast. They started out 5-0 last year, right? They lost 3 straight. And that team's a fucking wagon. So you expect he's happy. Debo, Kittle, McCaffrey, still a great defense. And also, fuck Aaron Rodgers. So, yes, give me the 49ers.
That Super Bowl loss was tough, dude. That was a tough.
The 49ers lose to the Super Bowl like every other year now. So, like, they're used to it.
Yeah, but they did it by being dumb and like not knowing the rules and shit. And like losing to like a worse team than they were playing. Come on, dog. Like, this is a Super Bowl hangover. It's real.
They were up by 12 points 4 years ago to them and they lost.
I know.
Emmanuel Sanders. Oh well, I mean, it wasn't on him. It was Jimmy G's fault, but an overthrow to Emmanuel Sanders away from a Super Bowl championship.
Are they the Bills?
So
are they the new Bills?
They getting close to it.
If the Bills saw the Lions in the Super Bowl this year, everybody'd be like, "Oh, that's so nice!" Like it's like the two, maybe not you guys, but like, yeah. I hope everyone wins. You know, these poor franchises.
Right.
Yeah, look, I think that the New York Jets are very dysfunctional. Very, very, very dysfunctional. It's weird. Aaron Rodgers is fucking weird. I wouldn't want to go to work with that guy every day. He's a weirdo. He says weird shit.
Here we go.
I don't think that he is as smart as he thinks he is. I don't think it's easy or good or a good idea to try to be like an elite quarterback when you're fucking 39. And I think he has about too much faith in his physical abilities as a quarterback as he does in his own intelligence. And that is too fucking much. He hasn't been good in 3 years. I know one was an entirety like sit out because I got hurt in the first few snaps type season, with one highlight where he like said to a defensive lineman, "I don't even know who you are." And it's like, great, dude, you're like best shit talking is when you're a complete smug prick. Like, awesome. Good job. You fucking loser. And then he's like fighting with Jimmy Kimmel and like trying to fucking dox him and shit. The day Aaron Rodgers finally decides to hang it up is a fucking happy day for all NFL consumers. He's a tiny brained, tiny charactered individual. And unfortunately, I think he's ruined what could be a really great Jets organization over there, because I really like the players they have on defense. I liked Saleh's approach to building out that defense. I even saw them have elite performances last year, and I was looking forward to seeing them play well. But I think the dysfunction is really clear if you do any reading into like what the offseason's been like in fucking bizarro town over there in New York. And yeah, I mean, I'm putting doubt on the 49ers because Super Bowl hangover, and I think that there's some weird juju there too. But the New York Jets, it's gonna be a soap opera this year. I think. I really do.
So for all the
how about this game?
Yeah, for all the how about for all the reasons
49ers.
Thank you.
No, right. No, but yeah,
obviously.
I'm saying I got Aaron Rodgers coming in and they find a way to get it done for that game.
Come on.
For that game. You can say come on all you want.
And then the wheels fall off though.
Once again, I think it's always gonna be personal with him against San Francisco, because in the back of his mind, he said, "You're telling me that Alex Smith was better than me?" And once again, It was years ago. He still holds on to it. Alex Smith was not better than.
No, he's probably a way better hang though.
But
you know,
but I'm just saying. I think with him it's personal and it's out there. I mean, it's not. Well, I know it's not.
Right. Alex Smith is clearly not as good of a.
No, I know.
But I'm saying, but the fact that I'm saying that I know he holds on to it. He's super petty. You could tell. So I know he holds on to it.
I agree.
In there,
he's such a fucking asshole, dude.
On them. I think him and Garrett Wilson. Yeah, I think Garrett Wilson come out and goes 5 for 150. Like I just think they're gonna do damage on that Monday night. And like I said, it might tail off towards the end, but right away they're gonna remind some folks like, hey, he's like, I'm still really good. And like I said, Garrett Wilson's ascending. Obviously, we know about Sauce Gardner. You know, they got Breece Hall, some other.
I mean, he couldn't beat this 49er team with Davante Adams. He hasn't beat the 49ers since you lived in Miami, Ray. But this isn't gonna happen. It just isn't.
I'm just saying, once again, this is the best defense he's ever played with.
Sure.
So
it might be one of the worst offenses.
Sure, but I'm like, Garrett Wilson is not that far off from what Davante Adams was. I'm telling you.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he didn't.
Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised they come in there and it'd be like
if he made it one drive again and then
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, there's not too many I trust in the late like that. I would put above him in a late game situation. Like
Aaron Rodgers.
Who?
With Aaron Rodgers?
Come on, fuck off, Ray. You don't believe
at
that.
This age?
What?
At this age?
Aaron Rodgers has never done anything in a late game situation.
At Cowboy fans,
but the Packers just do that to the Cowboys. The Packers just always do that to the Cowboys.
No, right, no, sure, but I'm being funny, but I'm like, he's had big moments. It's not like he's some scrub. And once again, I'm not an Aaron Rodgers.
No one's saying Aaron Rodgers is a scrub. I'm just telling you he's like fucking.
No, I'm saying some Mike because Mike because he can't stand the person, so he won't separate the talent.
I'm literally the same exact way, and his talent is getting ever closer to his personality. Is my whole point. It's dropping at a rapid.
Aaron Rodgers hasn't won a big game in 6 years, right? Like you're living in the past, dude.
Hasn't been good, and he hasn't even been a good regular season quarterback in 3 years.
Well, we'll see come Monday night. But what doesn't drop off is the three of us. So we thank y'all for listening. So for Mike Marcangelo, DK Sizzle, I'm Hollywood Rayshawn Buchanan. Until next time, we'll see you. Peace.
Welcome to Transforming 45, the podcast that celebrates the incredible power of passionate voices. I'm your host, Lisa Boat. Join me in conversation with heart-led humans who share their deeply personal stories of transformation. Transforming 45 is here to uplift, connect, and remind you that it's never too late to write your next chapter. So get ready to be inspired, empowered, and transformed. Join me in this community where through powerful storytelling, we heal and reclaim our inherent magic.
Electricast. Hey there, fabulous souls. I'm Stephanie Baklaan.
And I'm Eden Alpert.
And we're the hosts of the brand new podcast, Unapologetically Fab.
Get ready to join us on an amazing and real journey as we dive into life after 40 and own it.
We're all about changing the narrative, leaning into who you are, and living a life by your own design.
Join us as we embrace life unapologetically and redefine success.
This is Unapologetically Fab,
an Electricast production.
See you there.
Electricast. Electricast.